With Ocarina of Time getting a remake later this year, let's take a look at other games Nintendo may remake. So the big one I've seen talked about a lot is Super Mario 64. So this actually did get a remake, but it was kind of a demake, and it was on the DS in 2004, so I would hardly say there's like a real modern way to play this game. And listen, it's one of my all-time favorite games. I would obviously prefer a new 3D Mario game over this, but that doesn't mean that I wouldn't love to see this game remade. And something like Super Mario 64, I feel like it's a game they could probably remake a little easier, just because you just slap a new coat of paint on it, fix the controls, maybe add in a few levels. And there's the remake. And we already know what this can look like. I mean, we saw Peach's Castle in Super Mario Odyssey in 2017, and that led to so much speculation about a remake. Obviously, that didn't happen on the Switch 1. But with 3D Mario games just taking so long to make nowadays, where it's been 9 years since we got one, it almost seems like if Nintendo made a remake of Mario 64, that would have kind of held fans over for a little bit until we actually get a new 3D Mario. Like, yeah, we got Bowser's Fury in 2021, which was a fun little game, but it doesn't replace the void of like a full 3D Mario game, and this wouldn't either. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I want a remake over a new game, but at least a remake that adds new content and just gives a new way to play this game. Like, I think that would be a great thing. Now, we got the Mario Galaxy Remastered collection last year, but I mean, that's literally the same game. It is quite literally just like better textures, higher resolution, not really any new content, not any important fundamental differences. But as Mario 64 like a full remake that adds new content, maybe even expands the castle or something, I just think that would be really cool to see. Now, the next one I want to talk about is Pokémon Black and White, and this probably is the next Pokémon game to get a remake if I had to guess. Because of course the most recent ones we got was Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and I mean those remakes are not good, but now those are a few years old, and now Black and White are the oldest Pokemon games to not have remakes, and I'm not talking about 3rd editions, so Black and White got Black and White 2, but that's not a remake. Plus that was what, like 15 years ago now, something like that? I think Black and White are both some of the best games in the entire series, but they are not accessible games at all. First of all, these games are crazy expensive. Second, they're built for dual screens, so they're not the easiest games if you want to try and emulate or something and have it feel like an authentic experience. I think it's just a matter of time until we get these. I would say it probably will be another 2 years, just because we are getting Winds and Waves next year. Like, like they wouldn't release those in the same year, at least I don't think they would. But I think it's a safe bet to say that eventually we will get remakes of these. Now, the next game is Majora's Mask, and this is another one that I think is just a question of when rather than if, because we all know Ocarina of Time, the remake, is going to sell a ridiculous amount. Like, no matter what it does, no matter if it's a good remake or not, it's going to sell a crazy amount. It's going to make Nintendo a lot of money. And like with what I was saying with Super Mario 64, it's going to hold over Zelda fans until the next 3D game. And I kind of think that's a good justification for a remake. A lot of people are just so anti-remake no matter what. They say that it's taking away from new games. And in some cases, yes. Like, yes, I think this new Star Fox could potentially be taking away from a new Star Fox adventure. But a new Zelda, I mean, we're getting a new 3D Zelda in a few years. It's only been 3 years since Tears of the Kingdom. They take a long time to make. So it feels like bridging the gap until that. So I think there's two ways that they can go about this. So maybe the Majora's Mask remake comes out like next year or something, or the year after. And we get the next new 3D Zelda game maybe like 2028, 2029. And that just gives Zelda fans more content during that time. So again, we know nothing about the Ocarina of Time remake, except like how Link looks. But it would be a safe bet if they make this, that it will use the same engine and it'll have the same graphic style, probably make a lot of similar changes. And Majora's Mask is an incredible Zelda game. Like, I don't think it's as good as Ocarina of Time. I think Ocarina of Time is the best Zelda game, at least in my personal opinion. But Majora's Mask is definitely up there for me. And the 3DS version, I like the 3DS version. Like, I know a lot of people hate on it, but I do like it. But Switch 2 Remake would be a chance to make like a definitive modern version of that game. I just want to say real quick, if you enjoy this style of video, be sure to subscribe. Now, Paper Mario is one I want to talk about next, and this one is far from guaranteed. We got the Thousand Year Door remake in 2024, and it makes sense why they did that, because it's widely considered to be the best Paper Mario game. It's one of the best RPGs of all time, and Paper Mario, the original, is beloved, but it's not on the same level as the Thousand Year Door. Plus, Paper Mario is already on NSO, so it's not like you can't play it. It's not an inaccessible game. And actually, I think it's aged pretty well for a Nintendo 64 game. With that being said, I'd love another excuse to play it. I'd love to see the world of the original Paper Mario with the Thousand Year Door remake graphics. I'd like to see maybe something like the tutorial in the beginning fixed a little bit. Like, I've had a blast with some of the Mario RPG remakes, like the Thousand Year Door and Super Mario RPG. So getting one of Paper Mario could be really great. However, before that, I'd really like to get a new Paper Mario, like an actual good Paper Mario, because it's been 6 years now since the Origami King, and I wasn't really a fan of that game to begin with, but 6 years since the last new Paper Mario game is the longest gap we've had since the series started. So I'd rather a new Paper Mario first, but I wouldn't mind getting this later on in the Switch 2 lifecycle. Now I want to talk about a game that you've probably not seen many people talk about when talking about remakes, and it's Donkey Kong 64. So this game was finally added to NSO after years of people asking for it. And while I think it's a good game, it is very rough to go back to if you're not used to it. It's a collectathon, but like it takes collectathon to a whole new level. There's just a ton of different collectibles here, and it just gets a little overwhelming the way they have it set up. Plus, I think a lot of Nintendo 64 era games have just aged kind of rough. Not saying that they're bad games or they're unplayable, just the early 3D visuals, the controls, the clunkiness of them. I think there's a lot of great games there, like Ocarina of Time I still think is fantastic. But especially seeing with what they did with Bonanza, how well it sold, I really want to see more out of 3D Donkey Kong. And instead of waiting another who knows how many years until they make it, getting a Donkey Kong 64 remake, which is a game a lot of people have not played, this would basically be a new game for most people. Plus, it could take the ideas of Donkey Kong 64 and really just modernize them, like make it a lot less clunky, make it a lot more enjoyable. And just a quick note, I think something like Wario World could use the same treatment. Now, Wario World has aged better, but it just feels like such a niche game. Like, I feel like I never see anyone talk about it. So that could definitely be an option for a remake. Now, the next one I want to talk about will probably never happen, but I still do want to bring it up. And it's the Mother trilogy, meaning Mother 1, Earthbound, and Mother 3. So the chances that this happens are astronomically low, but these three games from like everyone who plays them says that they're masterpieces. But if we look at the first one, a big criticism is that it's really shown its age. Earthbound gets a lot less criticisms. It's aged a lot better, and I think really the only main issues with it is just that the UI is definitely a little quirky, to put it lightly, where it doesn't look or feel that great to use. And then Mother 3, we've just never gotten an official translation of, so I doubt Nintendo ever does that at this point. Plus, I don't think Nintendo would remake 3 games at once. I think if they were to make a remake, easily the most likely is Earthbound. It's the most popular one. It's been localized since it came out. But even though these are kind of niche games, they spawned some incredibly popular games, like Undertale, which was just a complete phenomenon when it came out. Like, that took a ton of influence from Earthbound. Omori 2, that's another game that took a lot of inspiration from Earthbound. There's been other ones like Citizens of Earth. There's so many games that take inspiration from these games. So Nintendo was just sitting on money here by not remaking them. The other Zelda games I want to talk about in this video, besides Majora's Mask, are the Oracle games. So these are probably the first 2D Zelda games that I think could really use a remake. So these games I think will get a remake at some point, whenever it's going to be. We got the Link's Awakening remake, fantastic game. I love the Link's Awakening remake. I think it did an incredible job modernizing the original Link's Awakening. And the Oracle games are very similar. Like, they're on the Game Boy Color. The Link's Awakening was on the Game Boy, but then it had the Game Boy Color version. And unlike the first 2 Zelda games, where they're very primitive in the series, like, it's very clear that they were just testing ideas, and they don't play a lot like modern Zelda, Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons are very much like Zelda-y Zelda games, if that makes sense. Meaning that the ideas actually in it are really good and play out really well. And like with Link's Awakening, the biggest issues I have is just you constantly have to go to the menu because there's only 2 buttons, and the visuals are very dated. So I don't think games need a remake just because of the visuals, but I think it would be cool to see this, like, with more modern graphics. Like, I actually like the Link's Awakening remake graphics, but even if it's something else, I think that would be cool. These games are popular, like, I'm not gonna act like no one's played them, but I feel like a lot of people haven't given them a chance just because they're Game Boy Color games. And the final game I want to talk about is Kid Icarus Uprising. So first of all, I'd prefer a new Kid Icarus game. Like, I already have Kid Icarus Uprising, I already played it. But if this gets more attention on the series, then I'm for it. When this game came out, it was the first Kid Icarus game in a number of years, and it's because of Pit's popularity in Smash. And this game actually sold pretty well. It got good reviews, and then for some reason, Nintendo has just done nothing with this series since. And as a Pit main in Smash, I'm all for this series getting attention. My biggest problems with Kid Icarus Uprising, even though I like it, is just the controls just do not feel good. Like, they try to do too much. And that's kind of been a theme with some DS and 3DS games. But literally, if they remade it for the Switch 2, gave it that new coat of paint, cleaned up the controls, it would be pretty much good to go. Now again, I don't want this to be a replacement for a new Kid Icarus game, but even if this is them just testing the waters with a remake rather than a new game, just to gauge interest, like, I think it's better than getting nothing. Anyway, those are just a handful of games. Let me know in the comments what you want to see remade from Nintendo, and be sure to subscribe if you enjoyed.